Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. Today we're going to be having a little look at the PARD SA19 LRF thermal rifle scope, suitable for air rifles, rimfires or centerfires. Please stick with us and watch and see what we get on with. The rubber bellows on the back here protects your eye from recoil, and twisting the whole eyepiece gives you a sharp focus on the screen. This allows fantastic access to all the menu structure, controllable through the 4 top buttons here, and in use gives you immediate access to things like remaining battery charge, etc. I found the eyepiece lens was well ground and wasn't too critical with a pinpoint focal region. It was able to still maintain image quality if your head moved around a little bit behind the scope, and of course on something like this you don't get parallax issues once focused. The laser rangefinder mounted here is controlled with the opposing buttons to ping for distance. You can leave it in scan mode to give you a consistent readout, or just use it for one ping only to check range to a specific target. You can either use a standard spanner or socket to tension the mounting screws onto a Picatinny or Weaver mount. But these holes in the mount do allow you to put an Allen key in and use that for leverage. They don't need to be super tight, about 3 Newton meters, perhaps 4. The underside rail gives you multiple positions to increase or decrease the extension rearward of the PARD, or forward if you need it to be from something like an AR-15. The unit's supplied with an 18650 battery and charging unit. It fits underneath this nil cap on top of the scope. Simple. The supplied battery charger is USB compatible, so it's easy enough to leave it in your vehicle on charge if required for spares. The front of the scope is protected by this rubber cap. When first turning the unit on, a single press on the front fires the unit up in about 2 seconds. In use, a fast press turns the screen off, another fast press turns the screen back on. A longer hold shuts the unit down entirely to save battery. I like the fact that the power button is segregated and separate from the menu structure. It means you're not accidentally going to turn the unit off when you're trying to do something like change magnification or screen brightness, something like that. Focusing on target requires manipulation of the objective lens here, which is fingertip light but smooth, and it also doesn't move in use unless you want it to. Personally, I think the easiest way to zero any thermal rifle scope is to use a disposable heat pack, shake it into use, get it warmed up and staple it onto a cardboard backer so it's easy to both aim and see bullet impact points, and you're not making any guesses, wasting any ammunition. That was certainly a lucky first strike actually. I'm quite pleased with that one. I would always recommend putting a heat pack on laterally like that. If you put it on diagonally and happen to hit the very bottom corner, all the powder inside will drain out immediately. Whereas laterally like this, you have got a bit of a second chance that it won't all drop centrally straight out the bottom of the heat pack. Like any night vision or thermal imaging unit, it takes a little while to get used to the menus and controls, but at least the buttons on here are tactile and easily applicable to all 4 fingers. The menu button, held down, enters, as you might expect, the full menu, and you then have positive and negative keys to adjust the structure inside it for zeroing the rifle, choosing the reticle and choosing the reticle colour, as well as many other functions. I'm now adjusting the X-axis, which is the lateral left to right windage. I can keep the rifle aimed where it was with a secondary crosshair, and I can move the original crosshair to the impact point of the bullet or pellet. Press the menu button again and do exactly the same thing for the Y-axis, which was correct. A third press takes me into reticle style. I can scroll through 5 options. 1 is the simplest crosshair, 2 is a crosshair with a floating centre cross or a floating centre dot, 3 is a bit like a German crosshair with 3 lateral arms at 3, 6 and 9 o'clock and a floating dot in the centre. Reticle 4 has hash marks for aim over points and windage markers. Reticle 5 is the most complicated with additional windage and elevation markers. Dialing left from shot number 1 gives us shot number 2 just to left of centre in the bag, so I think we'll return slightly and hopefully we'll be zeroed then. A long hold on the front button changes through the different colour palettes: sky, white hot, black hot, red hot, through to a purple like neon scale.
Once correct reticle focus is achieved on the screen, I don't find you need to set it up or change it again through use. Just the front focus depending on the range of the target. To zoom the scope, press the front button. 1, 2, 3 times for maximum magnification, and the 4th time drops it back to initial level. Shot number 1 was there, shot number 2 was there, and shot number 3, 4 and 5 are all into this centre group here. I think I might just move one more click to the right. You can now see we've got the main group central in the rectangular packet. I'm going to keep shooting a few more just because I like the practice. I'm very happy with the way that's performing. Here you can see some of the hot powder spill out. Remember, these small packets can be quite uneven in terms of the volume of powder within them and where it's distributed. The scope will tend to see the hottest spot, not necessarily the right square, circular or rectangular shape. So just be sure that what you see in the scope is representative of what is on target. You probably won't see bullet holes in your target through the scope, so it's very important to try and have an additional spotting scope or pair of binoculars with you to help at this time of setting up. There are 5 zeroing templates for 5 different rifles, marked A, B, C, D or E. Each one carries an individual 0 reticle style reticle colour. Objective lens size is 19mm with an f1.0 focal length. The internal sensor is 384 by 288 pixels with a 17 micron pitch. The exit pupil is 8mm, which is slightly larger than the human pupil. The depth adjustment is -to +5 to compensate for your natural eyesight. Eyepiece resolution is 1024 by 768 pixels. Field of view on the internal screen is 19.5 degrees wide by 14.7 high. There are 5 interchangeable reticle types and human detection range is rated at 700 metres with 1000 metres for a vehicle. Dimensions of 147 by 51 by 65.5mm are very compact, which is appreciable on small rimfires and air rifles especially. Overall weight is 330 grams. The top centre of the screen at 12 o'clock has compass bearing and the bottom right corner shows remaining battery power. Left and right side have roll and pitch angle measurement and display systems, so you can tell if you're tipping the rifle somewhere you don't want it to be. Pressing the menu button to bring up the complete menu gives you the options. You can look at language, move into the rangefinder, and you can select from either meters or yards. Hot tracking can be turned on or off. Picture in picture can be turned on or off. And you can also have the compass and posture, which gives you indications of whether you're canting or tipping the rifle. You can switch off either the vertical or the roll pitch indicators. I don't find the two obtrusive onto the image because they're spaced widely to the edges, so they don't really restrict what you can see or view. Contrast and brightness can both be changed, and there are also various image modes which allows you to change through the different colour palettes. Sharpness alters the picture to your personal preference. Blind pixel compensation allows you to compensate for any hot spots on the lens, and using this will reset it back to give you a clear plane of reference. You can return to default settings, and you can also enter the time and date. Performance from the rangefinder was most consistent at 250 to 300 metres. I did find I was getting returns over 500 metres, but I wasn't likely to be shooting with thermal imaging at that distances at night. Use in daylight was acceptable, but you did need a very hot target to make sure you got good image resolution as an aiming point. Texture and composition was very much dependent on air conditions, and it was obviously better when it was cold and dry rather than damp or warm. Swapping it from one rifle to another is as easy as this, and once I've swapped it from one gun to the other, all I need to do is change my gun profile. Now, I've tended to go smallest to largest, so my air rifle is profile number 1 and this 243 is profile number 3, so that's A and this is C. So once I've just done this, which is set at 3 Newton meters, that is swapped. I'll turn it on, it'll take me about 30 seconds to change it on the menu, and I'm ready to go with a 243. The PARD is a shutterless design, so it compensates for any kind of screen discrepancies automatically without having the actual noise of a shutter opening and closing. The display gives fast, smooth resolution, and you don't have any kind of latency when animals move. The outer body and extension rail is 6061 grade aluminium alloy for durable long-term performance. A waterproof IP67 rating is in place. Magnification is 1.5 to 4.5 times. Eye relief of 45mm is fairly consistent, and it allows use on rifles up to about 243 in terms of recoil. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching that review of the PARD SA19 thermal imaging rifle scope. I've used this on rimfire, air rifle and centrefire. I like it the most on the airgun because I get to shoot loads of rats using this. It's fantastic because with a thermal imager you don't have the problems of light reflection like you do with a night vision scope. And it's not too expensive, this, for use with a serious air rifle like this for long-term pest control usage in important circumstances. Use on the rimfire allowed me to shoot rabbits out 75 to 100 metres. Sometimes on the 1.7 HMR I was shooting out to 150 metres accurately on rabbits. I preferred it for use on centrefire though, with fox control my main priority, and took foxes over 225 metres away with it. It would be nice if it took video or stills, but it doesn't detract from the hunting experience. The best part about it is with 50 Hz refresh rate, you don't get any problems with latency or quarry moving in a staccato fashion when you're actually hunting. I had no problem with mounting the scope on several rifles. The Picatinny system is very versatile and that's exactly what it's designed to do. The rifle had 5 different zeroing options and I saved 3 of those to 3 different rifles and found return to zero was within 2 centimetres at 100 metres each time using my torque wrench and the Picatinny mounting facility. At no time did changing batteries or anything like that lose zero. So I was very pleased with the PARD and felt confident and comfortable using it without wasting too much ammunition having to check or recheck zero every time I swapped it from one rifle to the next or back again. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching that video. Please like, please subscribe and please comment, because your comments in the box below are what make us make more videos for you. And don't forget to click the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.